promised, today I'm going to show you how we make our homemade pesto. This can be considered a higher fat, lower carb type of option for a dip or a condiment, or you can also put it over some pasta or some zucchini noodles and make a really nice homemade pesto dish. We really like to use ours as a dip, so I'm going to show you how I make it that way today. So I get my basil, it's organic from our local Trader Joe's. You can find this at most grocery stores now. You can find it packaged or in like the tree form. We just prefer to get ours in the package. I just rinse it right over my sink colander here. And then I'm not too stressed out about getting all the stems and stuff off. So what I do is just generally just cut the chunky section of the stem off, and I throw all the rest of it right into my blender. I do use my Ninja, which is the same blender I use to make my shakes. Works really well for making pesto. I'm just gonna cut all those off. We'll stick that right in. And so I'm an eyeballer when I'm cooking. I don't necessarily measure everything. So I'm gonna show you how I kind of eyeball how I get my ingredients in. So one of the main ingredients that we use is the raw pine nuts. Again, I just happen to get these at my Trader Joe's. I put in just a really generous handful of pine nuts. I'm just gonna kind of layer those in there. There's just a few left in the bag, so I'll just toss those in. Oh, wait, I don't have to save that. And then I kind of do the same thing with my Parmesan cheese. Again, that is a Trader Joe's Parmesan cheese. It's a really high grade Parmesan cheese. It doesn't bother anyone in my family as far as the dairy part of it. And then I just put a really generous layer of cheese right there on the top. And then I add a little bit of sea salt, just a couple rotations around the blender. I have 2 garlic cloves here that I've just minced up. I'm gonna throw that right on the top. And then the last thing I put on is our avocado oil. We do purchase this at Costco, but you can also find it at Sprouts and most grocery stores now. And again, I just do like a couple really generous rotations right around the blender there. And then I'm gonna put the lid on. The great thing about this Ninja blender is it does have a pulsing feature, which works really well with getting this really ground down and into like a dip form. So I'm gonna put the lid on there and I'm gonna just kind of pulse it a few times. Now when I notice that it stops kind of rotating around, I just kind of take a peek inside, and then I'm going to just make sure that these top leaves that aren't getting ground up just get shoved in sort of underneath the blade in there and moved around. Go ahead and take this piece out. And then I'll just give it a couple more pulses. A few more stuck leaves there. Get those underneath. And that is a pretty good consistency for a dipping pesto. If I was going to use this as more of a topping for a pasta, I would probably grind it up a little bit more just to kind of make it more of a saucy type of pesto. This will work great with some chips. And I'll show you how it is that we dip our pesto and what we use to dip it with. Here's what our pesto ends up looking like. So you can see the cheese in there. You can see the pine nuts are still a little bit on the crunchy side, which makes it a really great dip. Michael likes these organic white corn tortilla chips. They are salted. We get these also from Trader Joe's. I personally don't eat corn chips anymore when they're in a bag like that. So I have been turning to these parsnip chips. They're basically parsnips with a little bit of oil and some salt. They work pretty good for dipping with stuff like this. They can break a little easy, so I just gently kind of pick up some pesto. And now I have my nice low carb, higher fat dip here with a really nice healthy vegetable chip.